Welcome to another video. Today we will explore the fascinating story of Cain and Abel, the first sons of Adam and Eve. We will discover how an act of jealousy turned Cain into the first murderer of humanity. If you are a fan of history, you need to know the History Explorer channel. Here you will see amazing videos on various historical topics, from ancient civilizations to the most current events. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. To understand the story of Cain and Abel, we need to go back to the biblical book of Genesis, where Adam and Eve were expelled from the Garden of Eden. After their expulsion, they had two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel decided to offer sacrifices to God. Cain, as a farmer, brought some fruits of the earth as an offering to the Lord. Meanwhile, Abel, a shepherd of sheep, brought portions of fat from the firstborn of his flock. However, something unexpected happened. The biblical text reports that God accepted Abel's sacrifice but rejected Cain's. The reason for this rejection is not explicitly mentioned. Modern scholars suggest that this story may have been influenced by conflicts between nomads and established farmers, as described in ancient Sumerian texts. The fact that God accepted Abel's offering and rejected Cain's triggered a feeling of jealousy in Cain. His heart was dominated by envy, and he could not handle divine rejection. Moved by jealousy, Cain committed a terrible act. He killed his own brother Abel, thus becoming the first recorded murderer in human history. This heinous act had lasting consequences. After God's rejection of Cain's sacrifice and acceptance of Abel's sacrifice, Cain was dominated by jealousy and anger. God then approached Cain to confront him and warn him about the consequences of his actions. "Why are you angry, Cain? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." Cain, consumed by anger, invited his brother Abel to go to the field together. It was there that he attacked Abel and committed the terrible act of murder. After the murder, God questioned Cain about Abel's whereabouts. Cain replied by denying knowing where his brother was and questioning whether it was his duty to take care of him. God then pronounced Cain's punishment. "What have you done? The ground you work will no longer yield its crops. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. The punishment I receive is more than I can bear. I will be driven from the land and hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and anyone who finds me will kill me. Not so. Anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over. And I will put a mark on Cain so that no one who finds him will kill him." After the terrible crime he committed, Cain left the presence of the Lord and went to live in the land of Nod, located east of Eden. There, Cain found a wife, and together they had a son named Enoch. In addition, Cain began building a city that was named after his son. The passage mentioning Cain marrying a woman from the land of Nod has always intrigued commentators. The recurring question is, where did this woman come from? At this point in the narrative, there were only 3 people on earth: Adam, Eve, and Cain. To understand this, we need to look at the bigger picture that the writers wanted to portray. The biblical writers were focused on larger issues than specific details. One of God's commandments to humans was, "Be fruitful and multiply." However, with only Eve as the only woman on earth, if we interpreted this literally, it would require one of Eve's sons to commit incest with their mother to fulfill the commandment. The writers would never allow such a situation, as incest was not part of the first family. Therefore, the writers literally created a woman from the land of Nod and inserted her into the narrative as Cain's wife. This solution allowed fulfilling the divine commandment without resorting to incest in the first family. Similarly, God's rejection of Cain's sacrifice is not explained in detail in the text. However, within the structure of the narrative, Cain's murder of Abel marks the first shedding of blood on earth and sets the stage for the introduction of evil and corruption, culminating in the flood. Chapter 4 of the book of Genesis describes Cain's descendants. It is in this context that humans develop the arts of civilization, such as building cities, music, and metallurgy. Unfortunately, violence is also inherited by the next generation, showing the consequences of Cain's actions. Cain and Abel are significant characters in both Jewish and Christian tradition and are also mentioned in Islam. In Jewish tradition, rabbis taught that sibling rivalry, a recurring theme in the book of Genesis, should be avoided by all human beings. They interpreted Abel's occupation as a shepherd as being more favorable because it allowed time and isolation to reflect on God. In addition, they claimed that Abel demonstrated humility before God, while Cain lacked this virtue. Cain was associated with the theme of exile from the land of Israel and punishment for sin, as emphasized in the books of the prophets. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus Christ condemned the scribes and Pharisees, foreseeing the suffering of his followers. He mentioned the righteous blood that had been shed from Abel to Zechariah son of Berechiah as a way to hold accountable those who perpetuated violence and injustice. Abel's sacrifice was also compared to that of Jesus in the letter to the Hebrews in the New Testament. The text states that Abel and Jesus shared the same concept of faith in God, which apparently Cain lacked. In the Quran, the story of Cain and Abel is used to teach about the dangers of murder and its consequences. The story is told to highlight the importance of remembering God and avoiding violence. The Quran also mentions that it was Cain's corrupt soul that led him to kill his brother, and he became one of the losers. A later tradition in Islam states that it was Satan who motivated Cain and taught him how to commit murder. Another tradition relates a dispute between the brothers over marriage to a daughter of Adam and Eve. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any amazing content like this.